from turning towards the creation and turning towards the creation during the conduct with your Rabb. And what this does, in cleansing their actions from every flaw. Again, let me read one more time. Sincerity can be defined as the isolation of the intent in obedience to the worshipped, which is Allah, glorified is He. Singling Him out, sincerity, IKHLAS. Singling Him out alone in worship. Restraining the heart from turning towards the creation during conduct with your Rabb. And cleansing the actions from every flaw. Cleansing the actions from every flaw. Restricting your sincerity in the acts of your worship only to Allah. And the heart by this becomes restricted and refrained from anything or an attachment to anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is sincerity. Anyone or one who knows the reality of this great aspect of perfection in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Most High, His exaltedness, His majesty, His power, and His wisdom, His blessings, and His shielding, and His gentleness, and His kindness, and His gracefulness, and His generosity, who believes in this, then this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. He says He's huwa al-awwalu wal-akhiru wal-zahiru wal-batin. Wa huwa bikulli shay'in alim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He's first. When you isolate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out as your only object of worship, solely purifying your acts and doing what you do only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, when He reminds us of His beautiful name, He's al-awwal, that He is the first, that means He is the first thing that comes to your mind and your heart and your actions for a Muslim when you wake up. The first thing that comes to remembrance. You have to reflect on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Himself. And He also says He's huwa al-akhir. He is the last. Which means also that there is nothing that should be reflected on at the end of your actions except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because why? He is the one who is the first without a beginning. And He is the last without an ending. Being that He is the last, that means He's going to outlast anything. So who should you put your trust in? Who should you put your trust in? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says He's al-zahir. He's al-zahir wal-batin. Is there anyone above Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When you put anything above Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then this is destructive. It's very destructive to you getting accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you think that there's anything not closer to you than Allah, then you have mistaken. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says He is the most near. Which means every single thing. We have those three levels of Islam. Where we have Islam, we have Iman, and then we have Ihsan. If we can perfect our Islam and reach the second stage, Iman, where doubt is removed, and propel us to the next state, Ihsan, and stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as if you know for a fact with certainty that Allah is watching your every single move and recording it. Knowing this with certainty, then we can taste the sweetness of our deen when we bow our heads to Allah. The sweetness. It won't just be stories anymore. Remember when the Sahabas used to be in the battles, when they would refuse to take out arrows that they were shot with because they wanted to wait until they made the first takbir, Allahu Akbar. Then they withdrew the arrows. Why? Because their heart was with Allah. Their heart was with Allah. So my brothers and sisters, our acts, our speech, everything about us, it has to be with Allah. To taste what those who came before us tasted. And the acts that we perform, they have to be done with sincerity. And if an act is done without sincerity, my brothers and sisters in the deen of Islam, then how can we expect for those acts to become accepted? And as Allah says, He created us for one reason and one reason alone, and that is for worship. Question is what are we doing from day to day throughout our daily lives, from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep? Is our conduct, is it an act of worship or is it not? This is the question. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين وصلى الله وسلم على محمد ختم النبيين وآله وصحبه وأجمعين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. My brothers and sisters, as I mentioned, this khutbah today is very direct, very simple. And it was only as a reminder that what we do in our everyday lives, in order for it to become a fulfillment of why we have been worshipped or why we have been created, it has to be attached with IKHLAS. Everything we do has to be attached with IKHLAS and taqwa as well. The one who knows all of these things cannot possibly dedicate their work or their deeds to anyone else except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And whosoever hopes for the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then let him do righteous works and associate none as partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in worship. And furthermore, my brothers and sisters in the deen of Islam, sincerity is both necessary and it's required in order that every single male and female rid themselves of the whims and the desires that make its objective whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires of it. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep every single one of us attached with Him, but may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our deeds that are done out of sincerity only for His sake. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا أفرغ علينا ثبت أقدامنا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للذين كفروا واغفر لنا ربنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. My dearly respected brothers and sisters, remember your brothers and sisters who have lost their lives in Syria and Turkey. There are men, there are women, there are children, there are young, there are old. None of us knows when our last day will be. Only Allah knows. So remember them, my brothers and sisters, because they are a part of this ummah. Your hearts should be affected. These are our brothers, our sisters, mothers, daughters, uncles, aunts that have been affected. Get with your local masjids, support as best as you can. make sure that you make contributions, sincere contributions for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because truly they are going through a major hardship. And all of the Muslims who are going through hardships all over the world, no matter where they are, it doesn't matter what corner, north, south, east, or west, it doesn't make a difference. If they are being oppressed, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala liberate them. And if they are not being treated right, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them what they need to be able to liberate it so that they can uphold the call of La ilaha illallah. My brothers and sisters, remember your brothers and sisters in your night prayers, in your daily prayers, in your driving, in everything that you do. Remember them. Please make dua for them, because truly they have been hit with a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He creates life and He causes death. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls us back, He doesn't have to apologize for it. Let us remember that. Let us remember who Allah is before we question why Allah did something. We should say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is who He is. Aqimus salat.